Come on. We're live on FOIA Friday. Freedom of Information Show. 4 o'clock on a Friday. Dr. Crystal Heath. Mr. Skyjack Morgan. That's our FOIA officer right there, drowning under all the FOIAs that we...
At least we have an old white man do something useful.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. At least those old white men in the FOIA office. You know, Dr. Heath, for anyone who doesn't know, this is FOIA Friday. If we do it every Friday at 4, if we can, we go over all of the Freedom of Information Act requests that we are filing in order to uncover corruption and intrigue in the mostly the food system. The fragile animal protein system, I should say. Crystal, I actually got a message back from the Land O'Lakes thing that I did last week. I forgot to mention. I don't even know if I told you this. I got something back, and it was
fun.
And
they're like, "Can you give us an address?"
And I gave them the address. I gave them the address.
The problem that I was gonna bring. That's the problem I predicted with your FOIA document. There's too many Land O'Lakes stories, and you need to nail it down.
I went back and I could have sworn I gave them an address in the body of the email, but that doesn't matter. I sent them an email. It's 400 whatever, and I actually, before I did, I double checked with my trusty co-pilot, my crusty co-pilot, and asked. Well, I know there's a lot of Land O'Lakes thing. It actually provided me an opportunity to kind of fine tune it a little bit, and it was the big complex. And we'll get back to mine, but why don't we update yours? Because there is development. I did another one very similar to that this week, but what people can stay to the end to find out about mine. But what was your FOIA this week?
Well, previously I had gotten a response back from one of my FOIA requests of Kern County asking about avian influenza stuff. And they sent me a reply back basically saying that our Environmental Protection, Public Protection Division didn't have any H5N1 involvement, eradication, or anything around Poso Creek Family Dairy or Central Valley eggs, but they did issue a special permit for use of sulfuryl fluoride to treat specifically rats at the Central Valley Eggs facility.
But that's that's in line with what we thought, right? Wasn't it?
Well, no, this is what they replied back. I was blindsided. I'm like, sulfuryl fluoride, what's that? And then I dug in. I'm like, this is horrifying stuff. And so they said, do you want the above communications? And I'm like, yes, please give those to me. And then I just got a response back saying that we don't have any responsive records. What? But I'm like, you did though. So I drafted a response back saying, thank you for your response regarding my Public Information Act request. I appreciate that a search was conducted, but I would like to request clarification and ensure that the search was reasonably comprehensive. Your earlier correspondence said, blah, 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 that you had these communications, and now you're saying that you don't. What's the deal? So that's what I sent back, and hopefully they'll tell me that, because I'm really like, this sulfuryl fluoride stuff is nasty and I want to know all I can about that. And I might, do or other FOIA requests looking for more use of sulfuryl fluoride throughout.
This is like Pam Bondi saying the file's on her desk, and you're like, okay, show me the file. And she's like, what file?
Yeah.
That's
like, you literally just kind of told me, and
you showed me all your cards. You can't hide them now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love that. This is one of the things I love about this this is when Mr. DeCoriolis poo-pooed my strategy of going after the JBS to see if I could get a smoking gun, and maybe I'll just get lucky. And but you know what? Stuff like this happens. You were asking for this, And the person came forward like, well, do you want this information? Yes. What information?
I wonder if it's like it had to be redacted or something because it was, and
Yeah.
maybe that FOIA officer wasn't supposed to let me know about Central Valley eggs and sulfurryl fluoride. But I did make a TikTok about it and put it out on the internet, and maybe they got all defensive because I put that all out there before I actually got, hardcore evidence. But I have enough evidence to know that Central Valley eggs did use sulfurryl fluoride. Now I want the documents, but maybe we'll get those someday.
I wonder. Okay, so when a fire department responds to a fire, they have to file, because it's a public fire department, they have to file the cause. Like, we should be able to find through FOIA what the cause of that fire was at Central Valley Eggs.
Yeah, I'm going to make a note to myself for that, to FOIA the fire department as well. And so there was a fire at Posto Creek Family Dairy a couple of weeks before that fire at Central Valley Eggs, which is, they're right across the street from each other. Very
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, I'd like to know that, both of
I
those.
would love to know that, because the fire department does an investigation. They try to find out what causes fires. That's what they do. They're like, wait, why do we have to spend all this money and put men and women in harm's way putting out this fire? And we should be able to find that out pretty easily. I think that should be like readily available. I think it might be in public records already. That's something that I found out in my FOIA request this week, was that, so I wanted to go ahead and do the Crystal Creamery, just because I love the name Crystal Creamery, your namesake, spelt the way your name is spelt as well. They call themselves the largest family dairy in Tulare, I think, or in California or something like that. And yeah, so I started asking my crusty co-pilot, Mr. ChatGPT, and basically I was saying, well, is anything going to turn up in FOIA? And like, if you're really looking for, ChatGPT said, if you're really looking for these water things, all that stuff's going to be in public records. With something as big as Crystal Creamery, they're too big. Like, they're going to have a lot of inspections already, and those inspections are already going to be in public record. So doing the CPRA, or is it CPRA? Am I saying that right?
If you're doing California, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. FOIA comes off the CPRA as the right initialism or whatever, right? So I didn't do Crystal Creamery because of that, because they said,
I recommended that you do dairies that we've investigated. Especially like your Posto Creek Family Dairy, Riverbend Dairy, and Tulare. Those are, the good ones.
I'm going to go after those. I was trying to see, because the thing about the dairies, if they're getting hit with the inspections, anyway, I'm going to go after those other dairies to see if there's any, but where ChatGPT directed me was like a different direction, like big CAFO dairies, like where there's a lot of animals being kept, because
like Posto Creek Family Dairy and Riverbend Dairy.
I guess Riverbend is huge. Yeah, is Posto Creek that big?
Oh my God, it's huge. Yeah, they've got giant dairy digester there. It's huge.
I'll do those. I think the one I did this week was Four Corners Dairy in Tulare.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I chose Four Corners after talking with ChatGPT for a while, that I wanted to target a good CAFO that would be likely to turn something up through this process, because I want something to turn up, but I'm turning in the same. It's almost identical. It's about the water control board, because they seem really responsive, which is great, and public health. So I'm really hopeful now that I'm going to get something, and maybe the Land O'Lakes one is not over yet, but it might not turn much up. But I
don't know if you remember last week, I recommended that you FOIA all of the dairies that had received ELAP payments in 2025, like on that list. I think that would be really good. Get as much information as you can about them.
Good
But
idea.
Kenny Torella just published this article in Vox, which was really interesting. Let me see if I can share this real
Yeah, I
fast.
didn't. I was kind of going. You know how it is when you go down that rabbit hole with like I'm trying to get it. I don't know. I'm going to do the ELAB one. That's a really good idea. Just go down the list and do each one. Because the thing is, if the dairy, if the water is so in the news right now, and it's such an important thing, I want to know, especially with this AB 411. If people don't know what AB 411 is, they're saying there's a bill going through the state legislature in California to allow these dairies. I think it's just dairies. Maybe it's all
No,
animal
it's
farms.
all mammals are
All
able
mammals.
to now be composted on the owner's property.
Yeah, so they could bury these animals on property, which is like really dangerous because of what happens with our water base, our water bed, and also and you know, and also the disease and the rest, and also methane and all sorts of other things. So if it's a water issue, I really want to see it. I'd love to see that these CAFOs. I'd love to find. I know they're going to have violations, and so I'd love to say, okay, we're supposed to trust you
Will
guys.
they have violations? I don't think so. Based on this
Oh,
article that
really?
Kenny Torella did in Vox, he
Oh my God.
says the meat and dairy industries, along with the farms that grow corn and soy for animal feed, are some of the biggest polluters in the US, yet they're largely exempt from environmental regulations. An argument that industry lobbyists and allied politicians often make is that there are simply too many farms to regulate. And he says, and he investigates into how many farms are there, and it turns out, you know, the vast majority of farms are just really tiny little farms.
Yeah.
And there's only 16,000 that bring in more than $5 million a year, 30,000 that bring in 2.5 million to 5 million a year. So like the vast majority are just small, insignificant farms. So, you know, they could be regulating these, but I don't think they are. I don't think they're looking at these.
When you say they, I mean, who are we talking? See, the thing is, I remember this argument from PETA saying, like, okay, well, we have USDA officers that are supposed to go out there and regulate not only farms, but also zoos and all sorts of other animal activity stuff. And the USDA is supposed to go out and do all that. And there's just not enough of these inspectors. There's like something like 100 for, I forget what it is. It's some joke number of inspectors for the number of farms there are. But when you talk about like the water board, they've got to have something, right? Like maybe the water board.
I don't know.
I'm just hoping that the California water board actually has. You know what? Maybe I'm being naive, Crystal, just because of my interaction with inspectors over the years.
You're
And
not a farm. You're not a farmer.
I'm not a farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a farmer. But
in
hey,
2022, when asked why farmers aren't required to reduce their pollution, then Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack told reporters that farms aren't as straightforward to regulate pollution as, say, factories. The U.S. has millions of farms, Vilsack claimed. So as you think about regulation, the reality is it's not as easy as you might think to enforce. Around the same time, the Supreme Court prepared to argue a highly consequential case concerning the Clean Water Act. Industry groups contended in a brief to the court that stricter water pollution regulations would place too heavy a burden on America's legion of farmers. The brief's first sentence reads, there are more than 2 million farms and ranches in the U.S. 2 million farms is an impressive sounding number, and it's regularly invoked to not only thwart proposed pollution limits, but also to pass beneficial tax laws and subsidy programs for farmers.
Well, hey, if there are 2 million farms, then all those farmers crying in Arkansas about how they need money, we should just let them all rot because we got 2 million farms. What is a couple hundred farms? A couple hundred farms can disappear if we have 2 million farms. No?
Yeah, you would think, but we'll go into more stuff here.
But wait, in that article, what exactly are they talking about when they talk about regulation in this article particularly?
All sorts. I think
All
just
sorts of regulation.
they're largely exempt from environmental regulations.
Right.
All sorts. And we'll also bring up how the National Pork Producers Council just squashed the EPA's attempt to limit effluent from poultry or from meat and processing plants. How that happened too. So that the EPA walks back a proposal to limit water pollution from meat and poultry plants. And the National Pork Producers Council was celebrating this. The move to withdraw the proposed rule was published September 3rd in the Federal Register. And it says, I forget how, like 100 million gallons or something would have been limited by this. But so the proposed regulations would have reduced pollutant discharges by almost 100 million pounds per year, including 9 million pounds of nitrogen discharges and 8 million pounds of phosphorus. The agency's preferred option would have cost about $232 million annually, and it would allow the agency to achieve significant reductions in nutrients and conventional pollutants in a way that avoids potential supply chain disruptions in the nation's food supply. But
well,
womp womp.
But these are all federal. Like, do you have any faith that maybe? I mean, look, everything in the news is about CDC and our friend. One of my, it's so funny. I was reminded, Crystal, last time we were in Florida. I want to say maybe it was the first time we were. I forget. I remember when the confirmation hearing for RFK Jr. and we listened to it in the car driving around Florida. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And we were like playing it. And I was going, man, you can really hear him breathing into that microphone. And so, of course, now he's just had another hearing and he's like into the microphone. And I thought that was so funny. It reminded me of commenting it on that. But did you see that California and Oregon and Washington are going to have their own CDC now? They're talking about just starting their own. It makes me think maybe California inspectors maybe they pick up the slack where the federal maybe that's why the federal inspectors are so shoddy, is that the state inspectors are picking up the slack.
Maybe, I don't know. Melissa Montalvo of the Modesto Bee, Fresno Bee, just did a great story about the Pittman family farm Sanger processing plant releasing all sorts of grossness into the water there, and how the community had to pay for it. They were subsidizing that to smell rotten chicken death in their water.
And we had to pay for it, but they're also we had to pay for this wonderful stench coming out of our rivers and streams.
So I don't know. I don't have high hopes for that. But I did do some FOIA requests about that EPA thing that just happened, and I FOIA'd the EPA specifically, asking for communications with the industry, the North American Meat Institute, the National Chicken Council, the National Turkey Federation, U.S. Poultry and Egg Association, American Farm Bureau, and National Pork Producers Council. Calendars and meetings, economic impact submissions, internal decision memoranda, communications with Congress or the White House. And I also FOIA'd the USDA Agriculture Marketing Service for any mention of effluent limitations and this EPA docket as well. And I also AB 411 and the Cattle Act were also included in those. And I FOIA'd the USDA Office of Congressional Relations to see what they were talking about related to this EPA guidance. So, and the USDA Office of the Secretary. So we'll see if we get anything from that.
They must be thrilled, right? They get to just dump whatever they want into the ocean right now, into the water right now. I mean, they could do whatever they want. I mean, they must be like ollie oxen free, right? They can do what seems like they can.
Yeah.
When the cat's away, the mice will dance on the table.
Yep. I guess so.
Weren't we going to FOIA something about turkeys on the pardoned turkeys?
Do you have any idea of what to FOIA?
I don't. I was, but I have been talking with with our friend in Petaluma to see if he knows anyone who would be willing to go on record saying that they would take the turkeys in to their sanctuary. I did do that.
Cool. I think, FOIAing any communications, the USDA AMS would be a great one to FOIA just presidential pardon.
Mm-hmm.
And we know it's going to be a butterball turkey. That's going to be whatever. So maybe any communications from the turkey groups at the USDA AMS. I don't know if there is a specific turkey checkoff program or not.
I'm sure there's a poultry checkoff program, right? I know.
Yeah, I wonder if they do how much turkey stuff they do. We could FOIA the name of the National Turkey Federation executive, who's the chief guy now. He will be like the main guy at the turkey pardon. We can FOIA all his communications.
I like that idea.
All of his communications with the USDA Agriculture Marketing Service. So,
just see what they're saying.
Because we might not get it in time because it's getting pretty close. So,
what if we did it super tight, like the last 3 months or something?
It'd be great if we could figure out specific email addresses with the poultry groups that might give the best bang for the buck. But, yeah.
I mean,
do you want to take on that, or do you want me to do it?
No, I could try it out. I want to look into it. I was just thinking, like, what can I have? What kind of search terms can I start thinking about of how to get those email addresses and who to go after?
I think USDA AMS presidential pardon would be a great one.
But like, who and what email addresses? Who?
From the whatever
the turkey.
You can look through our old FOIAs to see if we have any poultry group emails. Who's the head of the poultry turkey checkoff? If there's any people who we have email addresses for the poultry or turkey checkoff program.
I'll look into that, see if I can find something and just start putting something together, because that would be really great to have something about the presidential pardon turkey that's coming up. I mean, we're only 2 months away, really.
Yeah. And I wonder how they arrange that whole spectacle and how much say they have and how it goes down and what the president says and all of that stuff.
I want to know how much money's being how much money's changing hands. Don't you think someone's paying for something? That's not just a free event, right? Like, how much does that event cost to put on? Who's footing that bill?
It might just be like a USDA sort of thing. It's like,
Yeah, but that sort of thing would have to have a receipt, like
or a budget or something.
A budget. Yeah, what's the budget for it? I'd love to know that. Like, how much does it cost to pardon these 2 turkeys? Because that's going to come directly out of the taxpayer, and then those 2 turkeys end up at like some science facility or like some kind of tourist attraction. I don't know. They continue to serve men even after they've been pardoned. It doesn't seem like a real pardon to me.
The cost of the turkey pardon is part of general White House operations covering security, media presence, landscaping, stage setup, staffing. The turkeys themselves, along with their lodging at places like the Willard Intercontinental Hotel, are handled and financed by the National Turkey Federation. So the National Turkey Federation No, I don't think the National Turkey Federation a checkoff.
Oh, what? I assume it is.
Yeah, never assume anything. You make an ass out of you and me.
Yeah, I've heard that. I excel at that.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's not a checkoff. It's an industry trade association and lobbying group. So it's like the National Pork Producers Council in that way, which feels a little, why is the president doing a PR thing for a lobbying group?
Yeah, why is the president's owned by these lobbyists?
There is no federal turkey checkoff program. So
I wonder if we can look up how much the Federation gives in campaign donations.
Oh yeah, you can definitely look that up.
Yeah, I bet it's not insignificant.
That's opensecrets.gov, or you can find that there.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to check that out. Open secrets. I'll check that out. I like that idea. Well, I would love to start a campaign as soon as possible about these turkeys and try to I think that they should be pardoned and given to sanctuary, and they should be pardoned and offered sanctuary.
Yeah.
Sanctuary is something that is offered, not given.
I can tell you the National Turkey Federation will hate that, but we have to figure out how to change the narrative around the presidential turkey pardon thing. How do we get because everybody's going to be writing about it. Can we somehow get the talking point of this group is asking that these turkeys actually be pardoned to a sanctuary, not a poultry science program or a for-profit exhibition like Disney is,
Yeah. Can't they go to a nonprofit sanctuary and be offered sanctuary? If that's a true pardon, then that's what it should be. Let's actually do it for real.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could do it because it's just people love that, the Wizard of Oz, how Toto pulls back the curtain a little bit, and shows that this is all BS. And we all kind of already know that the presidential pardon of these turkeys is BS. But pointing out the wizard is a little old man behind the curtain. I think people love that.
Yeah. Be a good op-ed, let's really pardon the turkeys this year.
Yeah, let's really pardon the
turkeys. And then get that published before the presidential pardon.
I love this. Let's really pardon them. I want to do that. I want to write that op-ed. See if I can get that out there. Because it'd be great to talk about how much who's putting it on, what it really is, and what it really isn't. What is it really, and what really is it not?
Yeah,
it's not really a pardon because these animals are going to be enslaved for the rest of their lives and serving humans. It's not really a pardon. Why does
the media just play along with this? Why does the media not ask the deeper questions here? Why do we just it's the presidential turkey pardon, let's all participate in this corporate charade?
It's so funny you say that because you convinced me to go back onto Twitter, and now I'm back on Twitter. And if anybody wants to find me on Twitter, it's Skyjack Morgan. Crystal Heath is on there too. Are you Crystal Heath DVM or Dr. You're Dr. Crystal Heath.
Dr. Crystal Heath, yeah.
Dr. Crystal Heath on Twitter, x.com. And so many of the people that I see on there are where is the media? Why isn't the media saying, what the F are you talking about? Where are the follow-up questions? The media has completely let us down. So this idea that you just said, why is the media just playing into this BS? I'm going, I don't know why. What is the point of the media at this point?
Yeah, it's a good, way to make a TikTok about it. Let's start asking the real questions here, and get this narrative out there. Because is the media really going to publish an op-ed, criticizing the media? Who knows? But they should. But oftentimes, TikToks and Reels get a lot more views than op-eds do. But of course, op-eds do have that legitimacy, and then
the clout, the weight.
It's gonna withstand history when people look back years from now and what people were talking about in the newspapers. Back in 2025.
Back in 2025, before the fall.
Yeah. And your AI does, when you're searching for information on who's talking about what, they do give you the op-eds that are published in major media outlets, and not so much. AI doesn't really give you the TikToks of what people are saying, but
not yet.
Maybe I should start asking. Well, yeah, no, I've asked AI before. They're like, oh, we're not able to log on to the TikTok or whatever.
We're not able to log on to the TikTok. Can't quite log on to the TikTok yet.
Yeah.
What do I need you for then, AI?
Anyway, so another thing came up is Farm Service Agency loans. I saw this tweet from the Farm Service Agency.
Now, could you tell me what that Farm Service Agency is?
Farm Service Agency is an agency that gives loans to farms.
Okay.
So
they're just like a government thing.
Yeah, let me add this to the stage. USDA runs it, and farm ownership loans offer up to 100% financing and are a valuable resource to help farmers and ranchers purchase, improve, or expand family agriculture operations. For more information on our farm ownership loans, reach out to your local service center. So maximum loan amount for direct farm ownership, $600,000. Rate is based on agency borrowing costs, terms up to 40 years. Oh my God. Imagine having a loan for 40 years.
What's what house loans are?
30 years, I thought. And
there's 30 and 40-year mortgages. It's usually 30.
But you should, financial advice from Crystal Heath, get a 15-year loan and pay that shit off so you're not in debt for 30 years and you end up paying double what the cost of the thing was.
Crystal, nobody can afford a house. No one's getting any mortgages. It's all over. This is over. Like no one.
I'm not getting a mortgage, that's for sure. And
millennials can't get mortgages. Generation Z, they're not getting mortgages. It's over.
If you can't get a 15-year loan mortgage, you shouldn't buy a house. And I'm not buying a house, even though I probably make more money than all y'all.
Probably you do. But like my friend makes $150K a year, and he tried to buy a house, and he had some saved up, but they wanted him to have like $500,000 in the bank as a down payment, and that's less than a 15-year.
How big of a fucking house is he buying with a $500,000?
Not even a house. It's a townhouse.
Okay, so $500,000 down payment. You're talking about like a $2 million house or something.
It was like about I think it was $1 million house, and so
make only $150,000 a year. You should not be buying $1 million house.
I think it might have been, I don't know, it might have been lower. Maybe it was like 800,000. I forget what it was, but it was where he should have been able to buy it for far less as a down payment. But they're like, no, you need to have this or buy it in cash. And they didn't even want to talk to him. Yeah. And
BlackRock owns everything, and they're pushing.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And so what did they do? He said 2 weeks later, someone came in and bought it with cash. So it's just like, if that's where the market is, I'm sorry, like everyone's out.
People, houses is not where it's at.
Anyway. Okay, well, I don't know about that, but I think I don't know. I hope that one thing that I think is going to it's a little bit of peace of mind is that your largest expense is the roof over your head, right? And then over time, at the end of it, I can sell it off, and all that money that I put in, theoretically, most of it I can take back out. But you can't do that with an apartment. Where? Well, when I'm old, I'm hoping to move to maybe someplace where it's cheaper, maybe where it's like I don't need to. I don't know, or maybe I would rather just stay here and just like not ever leave. That might not be the case, who knows what'll happen with taxes being what they are and all that. But let's say eventually the house is worth so much and the taxes are so high, I gotta sell. That's okay. I can move to a lot of Californians do this. They move to Oregon or someplace cheaper. Like, that seems like a decent plan.
All that money I would have spent on a down payment 30 years ago and spent on making my kitchen, renewing my kitchen or whatever, remodeling my bathroom and paying property taxes. I invest that in stonks. Then at the end, I have millions of dollars and I can just pay rent wherever and not have to worry about it.
I like that plan. Stonks though are more volatile than housing
or growth ETFs. No, actually, like if you do the math, if you the money that people invest in a house, compare that over time to what they would have made if they invested that in like an S&P 500 index fund. You're better off investing in the S&P 500 index fund than investing in housing.
Well, I'm not well versed enough to challenge you on that, but I do know that when I had an apartment, and I was with my friend Joseph in Long Beach, and he told me how much he's paying for his little 2 bedroom in Long Beach, and he's paying more than my mortgage, and so I feel like I'm able to make ends meet, and I'm buying a house. It makes sense to me. Like over time, it'll be worth something, and it's only
But
going
that
up.
mortgage was started years ago. If he was to buy a house in your neighborhood right now,
He'd be screwed.
how
Yeah.
much would that mortgage be? Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be screwed, especially unless you had $500,000 down. I guess that's the thing, right? You got to have so much money to go down. That's the thing
And
that gets
you're
you.
better off putting that money in stonks. So
Yeah, if when it comes down to the down payment stuff, but this is why BlackRock sucks. I think that
Mhm.
if you what you just touched on is perfect. If you went back 20 years, where a decent job you could scrape together a little money, get yourself a down payment, get yourself into a 30-year fixed mortgage, you could make a go of it, I think.
No,
But
if
today
you
you
get a
can't.
30-year fixed mortgage, you're gonna stay middle class. That's my
Why? Fixed? No. Adjustable mortgages is the
no, you get rich. You're like just throwing your money away for 30 years. You're gonna pay like double what you should have paid for that house over 30 years, or even more than double. Like you're just throwing your money away.
double. Why would it be double? You're talking about like 6% plus
Let's
the
well, okay. This is not we could do a whole show on money, and I'll have like
yes,
my
true.
calculations in front of you and explain to you how
Explain to
to
me.
become a millionaire versus how normal people stay middle lower class because they make these stupid choices in life.
Yeah.
Um, and 30-year mortgage is one of those stupid choices that people make. Sure, some people do just fine, but for the vast majority of people, like you do not want to. You think you're throwing away your money on rent. If you're doing
Yeah.
a 30-year mortgage, you're pretty much throwing your money away to the bank. You're giving it to the bank.
But I get it back when I sell it.
Depends on how much you sell it for, and then you still have to live somewhere.
That's true.
And
You still have to live somewhere. I guess that's the thing. That's my only argument is that
we're
if I give
really going far afield here. So I want to go back to the FSA loan.
tell me about the FSA. We're talking about loans. You bring up loans. We get into
Yeah,
that,
we're
right?
talking
I
about
mean,
house. So like, yes, farmers get
a
the
40-year loan,
a 40-year crazy loan. And here's the
100%
thing about
financing.
the FSA. So you say you're a chicken farmer and you
I'm a chicken farmer.
decide to get an FSA loan so that you can build a state-of-the-art chicken facility so that you can raise chickens for Tyson. And then Tyson,
Good company.
gives you the chickens and you sell them back to Tyson. But then, stuff happens. Your chickens aren't growing very fast. You end up spending all this money on feed. You have like an outbreak of avian influenza and you get pennies on the dollar compared to Tyson gets dollars, for the chickens that they lose. So
Yeah.
you get nothing pretty much. And then you go bankrupt. And who bails out your loan? The FSA does. So, and then the FSA finds, or the industry finds another sucker to come and buy your property to invest more money into making your chicken facility state of the art again. And the process continues again. You have another poultry farmer who goes bankrupt because it's a really shitty system. And then the taxpayers have to bail out the banks because of the FSA loan. And Tyson gets a new sucker to come in there and raise turkeys for them.
A sucker's born every minute. This is a brilliant plan. I love it. FSA, they're way ahead of the game. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. And Pork Business just did this article on FSA loans. Again, Barbara Cerna Salinas, 43, a former FSA loan officer in Uvalde, Texas, was sentenced on April 8th to pay $166,744.20 in restitution to the USDA. In addition to Cerna's 2-year jail sentence, she will also serve a supervised release for a period of 5 years following her discharge from prison. What did she do? She was approving loans in exchange for cash or other forms of payment that were made by co-defendants Ruben James Valdez, 44, of Uvalde, and Eric Torres Neri, 44, of San Antonio. A review of USDA loans approved by Cerna after 2011 revealed that several loans were approved to Nera and Valdez that totaled more than $150,000. Several loans, more than $150,000. But she just has to pay $166,000 in restitution and 2 years in jail. That's
ain't nothing. That's more than Epstein got. I think it's FSA. Oh, so is FSA the one that's going to bail out all these Arkansans? We keep on seeing all these Arkansans on TV praying that that they're going to get their farms out of Hawk. FSA is the type of place that is the group that bails them out.
I don't know if they bail them out. They give loans, and I know they might bail out the banks. I don't think they bail out the people.
But if we got 2 million farms, why not let a couple close?
Understand this a little bit more. So I did a FOIA request of the FSA, and I was looking for the number of Farm Service Agency loan defaults broken down by state from 2015 to 2024. So
wow, that's a big range.
Yeah, we'll see what I imagine it's just like some sort of spreadsheet that they have, right? So that's.
I wonder, like, why'd you stop it at 2024?
Oh, I made mistake of ChatGPT. Honestly, I should have gone on to 2025. But
I'd love to know what's happened in the last 6 months. How many? Because that's what I would want to know. What percentage of them have gone into default in the last 6 months?
Have you been?
What?
You had this like you're almost gonna like burp. You look a little drunk.
Gone into default.
Yeah.
I'm not drunk. I haven't drunk in weeks. I haven't drunk a drop. Yeah.
How do you feel? Great.
I mean, fine. It's fine. I've decided because I have that psoriatic arthritis, I think. So I've got to like
out. I don't know.
I've got to work out more, as always. Everyone should, right? Bring yoga into more of my life. I need to do that more. But also a big part of it's going to be about anti-inflammatories. And so I just said, you know what? Alcohol is an inflammatory. There's no way around that. That is 100% true. I'm just going to stop drinking. And so I stopped drinking and I feel fine, I don't, I miss it on Fridays. Like today, normally after this show, I'll usually drink some wine.
Because after this show, I inspire you to drink, huh?
No, actually, well, you do, but no, it's on Fridays usually I would have a drink because I didn't drink the rest of the week. I told you I was trying to be really strict about my drinking, and for a while I was just drinking on Fridays, and then that would be Friday and Saturday. I would drink on Friday and Saturday, no other day, and still I was cutting way down, but now it's teetotaler for a while. I'm gonna be teetotal. Nice. To see if that's all I have to do, because the reason why this might seem so naive to a doctor, so please bear with me. I know I'm so stupid as a lay person. I know you're gonna roll your eyes.
Oh, because this is why people hate doctors.
No, but I went vegan. I stopped eating animals. I stopped eating eggs and dairy, and my asthma went away, and my eczema went away. Asthma and eczema generally go together, and they both went away in like 30 to 60 days. I'm practically symptom-free for the last 20 years. And it gives me this confidence now. This is the problem. This is where the eye rolling. Now it gives me the confidence. Oh, I've got this autoimmune disease that's triggered by something that we're not really sure what it is. Just take away all the triggers. It worked with asthma, so I can just cut out all of the all of the inflammatory shit that I've been eating, to cut out the, start taking omega-3 pills and eating more anti-inflammatory medicine, not medicines, but like berries and shit that got the anti. That maybe I can cure myself through homeopathic means. And I don't know. I just don't want to be popping pills and getting injections for the rest of my life. If it's.
Yeah.
What if I quit drinking and it goes away?
it just might. And, also like the
Are you
alcohol
joking? Are you joking with me? Are you
No, I'm
humoring me?
not. I know my default voice is sarcastic bitch, but this is not what I'm doing right now. Um,
About
I,
medicine stuff, it is, I think.
about medicine stuff is I'm
I
like,
mean,
no,
about like because I don't know, because like no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep talking.
I think it's great because like also fuck the alcohol industry.
That's
Like
it. Yeah.
we need to like hate them as much as we hate the animal-based protein industry. They hurt human beings, they rip families apart, and if Rick Berman loves them, and anything Rick Berman's and what's his name? Jack Hubbard,
Oh
anything
yeah.
they like, we gotta hate. So
I think I'm on board with that. And the other part is that the propaganda involved in getting people to drink is as
mhm,
insidious and evil as what the animal industry is doing. The animal flesh industries are engaged in that same propaganda, the psyops and all the rest, But I'm telling you, it's so hard because like you watch a movie. If I watch a movie on a Friday night with Karina and I see them drinking wine, I'm like, oh damn, you know what sounds nice right now?
no, don't do it. That's how they get you. That's
That's
how
how they
people
get
feel
you.
about bacon and meat and steak and stuff. So this is how you got to do your anarchist calisthenics. Uh,
Actually, you're right. You're absolutely now you're talking, Chris. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's a resistance thing. I totally agree.
Mhm.
It's hard because like I did dedicate a lot of my life to selling alcohol and learning
As
about
people
alcohol.
dedicate a lot in their lives to meat,
You're
animal-based
right.
protein.
You're totally right. It always felt like, okay, well, I drink alcohol, it's only going to hurt me, and I've never had any negative repercussions. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the negative repercussion from, you know,
Mhm.
drinking. So I
Yeah.
haven't drunk a drop, and I even went to a concert last night, and I did not drink. So
Nice. What concert?
I saw Jawbreaker at. Did you remember the old '90s punk band Jawbreaker and Get Up and the Get Up Kids?
Don't
No,
know any pop culture, so
well,
I
that's not pop anymore
heard
because like they were from the '90s, but they were fantastic. I got free tickets. Joseph, Joseph, he got me
Yeah.
free tickets, and we went and Joseph doesn't drink, so it's even better. I went with someone who doesn't. Yeah, he's
And you save
hardcore.
some money. How much money do you save if you're not buying alcohol? I mean, that's
Oh, I've done that math too, where I'm like, well, this is so stupid though. I'm like, oh, I haven't bought any alcohol this week. I can run the AC for a couple hours.
Mhm.
You just like, and I can run the air conditioning because I didn't buy any wine this week.
Yeah.
But I think it's good, and it definitely like a wake up and I'm more productive in the morning. So that type of stuff. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the thing, like, even half a drink, I feel it, the next day. I'm like, "Oh, I'm not as good as I could be."
Yeah, I mean, you're a smaller person. You weigh like less than half as much as I do, and so like it takes a lot more for me. Like but like I don't know.
But I think even a little bit, your body feels it, and you
I
feel
think
it.
that's true. Yeah, I think that's true. You might as well drink a lot if you're going to drink a little. But
That's not a good philosophy at all.
if you're gonna drink. But this whole like I'm gonna drink half a glass, you're still gonna feel like crap the next morning. But you're absolutely right, and I think that if we were engaged in like stuff that goes with the alcohol, and we were looking at doing FOIAs with them, if we did FOIA requests on what was going on in the alcohol industry, I bet you we would turn up some nasty stuff all the time, like really horrible shit. So,
Mm,
including EPA stuff, like they poison rivers and streams as well. They do all sorts of nasty stuff that really harms everybody. So
yeah,
yeah, you're right. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm not wavering in my resolution at this point. My resolve, I should say.
yeah.
But um, this FSA thing, I find it really interesting because it's following the money. I really like it. I like this. I like this FOIA so much.
Yeah, and maybe we'll find out something and dig down this FSA rabbit hole a little bit more.
I like anything that follows the money. That's why, I was so keen on the JBS stuff. I love just like the money that's all in. Like, if we could follow the money of who's greasing whose palms and who's not paying their debts, I think that's like just a gold mine.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
And we should mention Sentient Media also just wrote a story, and they included our Foster Farms FOIA documents in their story. So let me just pull this up a little bit since we have a few minutes left.
Yeah.
Let me see here. We've got
I see it. Here, I got this.
Adding it to the screen. Okay, cool. So more data from farms could help scientists better track avian flu, but privacy concerns stand in the way. Government agencies have refused to disclose farm locations, precise outbreak dates, and other metadata associated with poultry and cattle that test positive for bird flu. Which we've known that, like, well, the secrecy. For years, researcher Maurice Pitesky has run up against a roadblock while tracking the rapid spread of avian flu, a lack of public data he has attempted to obtain, but has repeatedly been denied. State and federal data revealing the location of avian flu outbreaks on U.S. farms. Its data, he says, could help inform predictive modeling to warn farmers about a higher risk of avian flu transmission near the property, giving them enough time to tighten biosecurity measures and potentially ward off an outbreak. And, Maurice, Dr. Pitesky, I thought it was Pachersky.
I don't get it, Crystal. Maybe I'm too dense to follow what you just said. They're doing... Could you explain what you just said? Because I don't get it. They're gonna...
So... Maurice, he was in that Washington Post video that I did about bird flu, and he's using AI to predict where avian influenza outbreaks would occur and track them and stuff, but he doesn't know where these outbreaks are because they don't have the data. And I just now thought, I should email him because we have that data.
We got lots of it. Yeah, I'm sure he could parse it. If he's an AI expert, he can use the AI to parse the data. Yeah,
exactly. We've matched the outbreaks to the companies through the USA spending, and maybe he could use that information to put together.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
I've been wanting to, and there's also if you've ever gone to the bird flu map, or the bird migration map. Let me show this. This is really cool. I've always wanted to overlay Birdcast, the migration data with the migration data with the outbreaks. So you see, as this happens. Where's the play the live video one? I love these live videos.
The video of them moving around. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me show this here. So you click on this and you can see, and you can put in like whatever date to see, what the migrations were doing back then. And sometimes it like really blows up and goes crazy. But wouldn't
there's a lot of birds.
Make an animation of this for the year and then dot whenever an outbreak happens so you can kind of see. And I think that's what Dr. Pitesky is doing.
The only thing that scares me about that, I mean, people are so dumb. They'll say, "Great, well, we got to kill more wild birds,"
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're. I think, and I don't know exactly what the details are of his modeling and what it's gonna do, like what his long-term thing is. But yeah, the aim is often to protect farmers from economic losses, but in effect, Pitesky says these decisions are a barrier for scientists scrambling to monitor the evolving adaptable virus as it circulates in the US. I just kind of get the feeling that we're like, we want to know more information so that we can increase biosecurity and prevent the spread, but like how? Like, and there was this
increased biosecurity so we can.
We've seen lots of these scientific articles that came out that like, oh, if we do this to the facilities, that decreases the outbreaks and it
Mm-hmm.
only costs us this much. But then when you look at it, you're like, that's a really small study and
Mm-hmm.
it's only over a certain period of time. And I don't think long term that's really going to work. But
Right.
the more data, the better. The more we can make the case
make the
for
case of what?
that. There's really no way
Yes.
to prevent these viruses of pandemic potential
Yes.
from spreading and flourishing in these facilities.
Right. There's one way to prevent the spread, and it's
Yeah.
to dismantle this disgusting system that we've created of
animal-free food production.
That's
Like,
it.
that's the only way, really. And we could talk
Yes.
about vaccines, ever escalating arms race. Like, how much are we spending to enhance biosecurity to create more vaccines and treatments when if we put that money into animal-free food production, we'd be so much farther ahead. $77.2 trillion in global health burdens and ecosystem degradation if we supported animal-free methods of food production.
Do you think that we're going to keep doing this with the vaccines? I mean, I've been watching. I haven't seen everything yet, but I intend to. Everything with the RFK Jr. hearings that just happened, the interrogations that we just saw. And they're basically, he's saying COVID vaccine doesn't work, didn't help anybody. I don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. He has no idea. He's the head of the Health and Human Services. Says he has no idea how many people died of COVID. Like, I don't know. I just don't believe anybody died of COVID. Is kind of what his whole thing is. I have no way of knowing that. Is what he keeps saying. It's like if anybody has a way of knowing it, it's him.
There were those charts and everything.
Yes, about 1 million Americans died, and
but it's true though. There's not enough data. Of course, you have John Colin. Is that his name? Who's saying, "Oh, it was H7N9 that actually killed all those people, and we weren't testing for that." Don't necessarily believe that. I do think it was COVID. But there's still a lot of questions, like where's the origins of COVID?
The origin doesn't matter as far as like the treatment.
Our best scientists are stuck in buildings testing on knockout mice instead of out there in the field making great Da Vinci style discoveries. We have like just the brain drain, the lack of investigative.
We do things the dumbest. Yeah, we do the dumbest things, but we do it the dumbest way possible, right? Like we throw a bunch of money at a problem, and then we all do it the dumbest way possible, which is do it on knockout mice. Like sit there and do gain of function research on knockout mice to see if we can get them sick. It's just the dumbest thing. But I guess the reason why not to get into a COVID tangent here at the end of the hour, but I'm thinking the whole time that I'm watching this, they keep on bringing up COVID, Fauci, no data. I don't believe the no data thing, by the way, because every country in the world went through this. Every country was collecting data. We have a lot of data. To say like we don't know everything, fine. That's what science says. Science always says that we don't know everything. That's part of science. We don't know everything. Let's try to find out more. But every country was collecting data. To say we don't have data for this massive damn thing that happened, I think is a little disingenuous. So, I think he's lying. I think he's a liar, which is nothing new, but it's a little weird coming out of Health and Human Services.
I do have like a PubMed, it's like a PubMed Google alert for all COVID-19 research, and every week there's just so many scientists working on this.
And he has access to all of them. That's the thing. He's not you. He's not me. He has access to the greatest minds around the world is what he has, not just America. He can get on the phone with anybody. But that's not really the point.
Problem in science of we get fixated on a certain narrative, and people who have a different perspective or who are questioning are viewed as harmful. Like if you are anti-vax or like, are you questioning the effectiveness of the vaccine, or you're wanting to discuss more about the side effects.
Okay, you're a scientist. That's a good question. You're a
You-
scientist. You're a doctor. You understand the scientific method. If that, let's say that I question the validity or the efficacy of vaccines. Okay, that's fine, right? Shouldn't we all? But what do we do?
Those scientists aren't getting funding. They're not getting platformed. It's the same thing. It's like the same thing with people in animal rights movement who have like a nuanced perspective on things, or who voice concerns about leadership or whatever. They are not, or their voice concerns about, like, imagine if you're somebody who's like really rails against EA and rails against,
that's me. Like, I rail against EA. Yeah.
That's why you're poor.
That's why I'm poor. Yes.
You're not getting funding from EA because, you're not sucking up to them. And if you are like, maybe telling people to
John Sambanmatsu rails against it too. I feel like I'm in good company.
So poor. No, I don't know he's not. He's got a whole bunch of EA funding. I'll tell you.
No, he's a professor, so he's pretty much he's made. But wait,
so EA people, you want to prove me wrong?
But Dr. Heath, those people are not invested in the scientific method. And to me, here's what you would do if you were the Health and Human Services guy who wanted to say, okay, let's give grants to the people who are questioning these things. You're right. Up until now, those people haven't gotten the funding. Just like you said, if I agree with everything you said, they're not getting the funding they want. They're not getting the clout, whatever you want to say, the attention. He has the power to do that. But instead, what he's doing is destroying what we already have and saying, well, maybe these guys have something to say about it. He's not even doing the research. He's not adding research. He's not giving grants to the people who are questioning the research the way we're doing it. He's just destroying what we're doing, the accepted version and the accepted methods.
Well, he is funding old style vaccines.
Okay. But that doesn't that's not like, hey, let's give the people who are asking bigger questions a chance.
Maybe he is
tearing down, but in place of, but before, maybe he is doing that, but in the meantime he's tearing everything else down.
But like, do you have evidence that he is not supporting the researchers who are focused on his agenda? I don't have any evidence to support that he is not.
I'm sure he is, but he is changing the CDC's recommendation before we even have any evidence of the contrary. He's changing we have no evidence that the vaccines aren't working or whatever.
No, I disagree. I think there is some evidence of that.
Do you think
whether it's good evidence? I don't know. I haven't sat down and looked at that.
Elizabeth Warren asked him this. She asked him, do you think that you should be able to go into a pharmacy and get a vaccine shot for COVID if you want one and have it paid for?
Warren asked him that, and he said no.
He said, well, you can still get one. And she said, no, you can't, because you've changed the recommendations. And now insurance companies are starting to not pay for it. The states aren't paying for it. There's not going to be any money for it. So you can't get the vaccine. She asked him that back when he was confirmed. And he said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Now he has done that. And now people aren't getting the vaccines, the people who want them. Now, that is, to me, tearing down what we have and promising, don't worry, I'll rebuild it later. But he hasn't gotten any evidence. He hasn't gotten any research done. He hasn't done the things that I think any honest scientific person would agree needed to be in place. Like in science, you go, hey, Pluto's a planet. Oops, it's not. We're going to have to change the star charts. You don't go changing the star charts before you don't know. You try to get more evidence. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about COVID. I want to talk about bird flu. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, I think there might be a body of evidence that he's looking at, but I'm not an RFK supporter by any means, so I don't want to take that. But I just think I need to know more about this before I really dive into criticizing the argument he's making here.
You should watch the thing. I
want to look. I don't want to sit there and watch for hours.
It's not that long. You could
what do the people who are question? I need to understand the people and the scientists who are saying that the mRNA COVID vaccine is harmful and that people aren't dying from COVID. Like, what is their evidence?
thousands of people. Oh, are you okay?
And I can like refute it in a way that doesn't come across as just me with an agenda and not just being like, well, trust the mainstream science. I don't trust the mainstream science as a veterinarian because I've seen the agenda and
trusting to have distrust of the status quo, I think, is healthy, but to tear down the status quo without evidence that we have a better way, to me, or not even evidence, not even like a plan, like it doesn't seem like there's anything there. There's no there, and that's problematic. Like if I said I want to tear down the government and capitalism, I better have some ideas about
and tear down the AVMA. Would you have that same stance, or the USDA? We want to end the USDA.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's why last time we had a show, I was asking you all these things about like how could we have an AVMA that we could actually be that's more beholden to its members, like the California VMA. That's why I was asking all those things, because what could replace the AVMA is exactly why I was asking all those questions. Because if we're gonna abolish the AVMA, holy crap, we gotta have something. We gotta do something. Maybe just do nothing. Like we gotta figure out what's a better way. Because like I'm all about like, hey, we're not doing it right. Cool, man. I think we're doing a lot of things wrong in this world. What's your idea? I want big ideas. I want ideas for young people under like young, I mean under 65, you know, that's what I want. People with ideas for the future, not 80-year-old men telling me like, trust me, COVID didn't kill anybody. Like I don't believe him any more than I do the status quo. Anyway, I didn't even want to bring up what I wanted to ask you about actually, but now I guess it's too late. But this whole time I'm looking at RFK Jr. and I'm looking at all these things about COVID, and we just fell into the same trap. COVID. And it's like we're fighting the battles of last war. You know how they're always saying we're always preparing for the last war. And it's like we're never preparing for the war that's about to happen. We're always preparing the one we just fought. And I'm thinking, why aren't any of these jerks talking about bird flu? If you bring up vaccinations, if you're bringing up disease spread, why aren't we talking about the ones that are around the corner and not about COVID? I'm sick of talking about COVID. I know it's still here and blah, blah, blah. But man, I feel like COVID's not going to get us in the end. It's going to be something like bird flu, you know?
Or any other kind of avian influenza.
Yeah, that frustrates me. And I wonder if you feel that same frustration when you watch these clowns sitting there arguing about COVID all the time.
Yep.
Okay, cool. With that, what a great that's all. That's what I wanted to talk about. But if the answer was just yes, then I guess then there's no reason. Then I'm glad we had the tangent on COVID. Thank you everybody for watching FOIA Friday. We're on FOIA. We do FOIA Friday every week at 4, except next week we are going to be interviewing Dr. Is it next week? No. Sorry, next week.
Tell me.
It's next week. It's next week. We're going to be interviewing Dr. Queston, who is an aquatic doctor and among other things, a very interesting veterinarian. As all beings considered, maybe we should do FOIA Friday on Wednesday and really mess with people's minds. But
maybe if we get some new FOIAs in by then.
I want to do these. I want to do. I still have to work on a couple tonight, so I want to do. Why not? I can do a couple by next Wednesday if you can. I'm down.
Take all of the info you can on those dairies that received ELAP payments this year.
I need to find that chart and just go down that list to start at the top.
Yep.
It's on your Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I'll start. That's
and it's
easy
in our
access.
chats too, I'm sure.
I'm so like, there's so much stuff in the chats. It's like I type anyway.
Sir,
I like
you
Twitter's
laugh.
a good place. It's a greater place to do it. Good that the recordings are easily accessible, as I missed most of this live stream. Well, Paul Campbell, you're in for a nice treat when we get to the COVID conversation. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching all over the world. Thank you on Twitter and X and Facebook and YouTube. And we'll see you next Friday. Don't forget to subscribe to our Honor Vets on YouTube and TikTok and Twitter.
And donate $25,000 donation match.
Oh my God, I can't believe
/donate or Venmo at Our Honor.
That's right. We have a matching donor. We have a matching donor. So you give us 5, we'll get 10 to keep on our investigative work and our FOIAs and our content and all the stuff that we do. Our outreach, all the stuff we're building, stuff for veterinary student outreach. There's so many cool things that Our Honor is doing, and your dollar, 5 will get you 10, 10 will get you 20. It's matching grants for the rest of the year. Please consider donating at ourhonor.org/donate. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Freedom of Information Act FOIA Friday. Bye, Crystal.
Bye.
Freedom of information. Friday.
There's my FOIA officer again. There he is.
FOIA.
Tired white man.